Hello, this is day 73 of Record Myself Every Single Day. I'm Cole. This is my journey of becoming a professional soccer player, building a bootstrap business, and becoming a better version of myself. Today was one of the most mentally taxing days of my life, but I managed to persevere and get what I needed to do done. Here's what I learned today. I think the key insight and overall theme for today's video is going to be enduring hard times to grow. The first thing that I want to get into is the bigger goals you have, the more pain you're going to have to be willing to endure. The higher that you want to go, you're going to have more and more obstacles come in your way, and you're going to have to be more dedicated and spend more time on your craft, turning yourself into the person that can reach the heights that you want to achieve. For me, I want to become a professional soccer player, and today, honestly, I just felt absolutely dead. I only had 3 hours of sleep, and then when I was doing my juggling today, which was in the early part, I just felt absolutely mentally dead. I'll put it on screen now of my calendar how long it took me to do my juggling. It took me significantly longer. It usually takes me around like 2.5 hours. You'll see on screen how long it took me today to get it done. And I wasn't even performing badly. It's just I couldn't focus my mind at all. It was absolutely numb. It felt like I was just going through the motions. I could have quit and just gone and not done it today, saying like, oh, it's a bad day. Oh, it's not very important. I'll do it tomorrow or I'll do it later. But I knew that where I want to go, I have to be willing to endure more pain than anyone else. I want to reach the top heights of becoming a professional soccer player. And in the position that I'm at right now, I'm at the complete bottom. So I have to work my way not only to stay up with the top standard, but I have to crawl my way to get up to this top standard first, so then I can go beyond them. The way that I have to do it, starting from such a low position, I have to do more reps than them, and I have to outlast everyone. So that means on a day-to-day basis, each day I'm doing more reps than a professional soccer player, and then also I'm gonna do it for longer. I'm not gonna take days off. I have my rest day where I don't do physical activity, which is good for my body, because last time I skipped my rest day, I tore my ACL, so I really made it important. 6 days a week, doing my juggling, doing my workouts without exception. And some of those workouts, some of those juggling sessions, some of those training sessions, some of the studying sessions of soccer games, they're not gonna go well. You can apply this to your life and whatever you're pursuing, whether it's business. There's gonna be times where you're trying to work on a specific project and it's just not going the way you want, or something comes up and it feels like everything's gonna go wrong. If you are trying to create a really big business, become extremely successful, you're just gonna have to go through more shit because it requires you to become a better person in order to level up to that field. Knowing that then builds into my next point, in which you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable in my juggling today, and I noticed that, and it was fucking with me mentally. I've heard this before. I'm not sure of the origin of where it is. Since I have such big goals and I'm willing to do anything it takes to get there, I have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Being in an uncomfortable position is where you grow the most. In the easy times, you don't experience a lot of growth personally or mentally, because you're not really having to really think and focus on the task at hand. You can kind of just skate by based on your past experience. Having the grit and tenacity to continue to push will not only serve you dividends in that training session, but when it comes time to where you have to put everything on the wall, whether your business is about to fail or I have an actual soccer game, I'm gonna be willing to go that much further. You're gonna be willing to go that much further to save whatever you need to do. Grit and tenacity do build from task to task, so being able to build it in your training sessions will allow you to perform better in game. Since I know that I'm going to want to grow as much as possible in order to surpass the people who are already far above me, I have to put myself in uncomfortable situations so that I do grow. Since I know I'm gonna be in those uncomfortable situations, I have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Today when I was doing my juggling, I was going through all the emotions that you usually do when you're doubting yourself. You're not really sure, why am I doing this? Is this even worth it? What I should be doing instead? But you have to ground yourself in why you're doing this. Know that there is no other choice but the hard path. That will make it a little bit easier to get through the work that you have to do. The next point that I have to talk about is the old you will come back, and you have to break the limiter that you previously set on yourself. So each of us has kind of a limit of how much shit you're willing to endure. And if you're like me, if you're watching these videos, you probably didn't start out to where you were perfectly disciplined, so you have to build that yourself. Your old level of how much shit you're willing to endure isn't going to be very high. So you have to continually try to push that every day, every hour, especially in the sessions when you feel like you want to quit and don't want to do it anymore. There are going to be those sessions. Statistically, 10% of your bad days, motivation wise, is going to happen a little bit more frequently than once every 2 weeks. On those days especially, your old you is gonna creep back in, telling you to just stop, telling you to go back to the couch, to go on Instagram, to go on YouTube, to go on whatever you use for distraction, and stop trying to push yourself to be something more. This is where you have to tell yourself that this is what we do now. We don't quit. The conditioning of telling your mind, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna keep going. I don't care how long this takes. I don't care how uncomfortable I feel. I know I'm gonna continue to go and not gonna stop until I finish this session. That's what got me through today. It was by no means great. I will flash on my screen right now the amount of attempts that I took on some of these drills, and it's not something I'm proud of, but on days that are bad, I want to show you what it's actually like. I want to show you what I'm actually going through. And I just recently upped my goals, and the combination of recently pushing to new heights and then also not having a good day was just a recipe for me having a lot of attempts and not performing to what my usual level is. That being said, when you do come in those hard times, you have to push back against your old self in order for your new self to emerge. And then this is kind of what builds into my next point, is you have to lose your mind in order to find yourself. You have to lose the mind of your old self in order to grow into that new person. When I was doing my juggling today, I have a note. I'll put up the actual Excel file where I have notes on the right side. I said, my mind is not here. I put that at probably, I think it was the third or fourth drill. I could tell from the first drill that I was not there mentally. I wasn't focusing on the ball in front of me. My mind would just go blank and I wouldn't be thinking about doing it at all. I was kind of just going through the motions. Depending on the drill, I would get up to 600 or close to the target goal, and then I would fail. And it would make me feel even worse because I was so close, but I just couldn't focus on doing the last few touches. I was trying to focus. My mind was just completely blank. That experience of me not being able to focus caused me to legit lose my mind. I wasn't outlandish in reacting, but my mind, it felt like I wasn't even there. It felt like I was not even myself. And I think that's kind of something that may happen on your journey. You're gonna be doing the work when you don't wanna do, and you're gonna keep pushing, and at some point you're not even going to be focusing on the work. Your mind's just going to be completely blank. This is where you transition into that new person. When your mind is blank and you don't have any thoughts at all, this is the time for you to condition yourself to become that new person. That's what I was trying to do. It's not going to be perfect, especially at the start. You have to continually condition yourself, tell yourself what you want yourself to think. So I was telling myself that we don't quit. I'm gonna finish this workout no matter what. I don't care how long it takes me. I don't care if it takes me 10 hours the entire day. I don't care if I have to stay up later in order to finish this workout. I'm getting this done no matter what. Eventually, I got through. It was a painful workout. I didn't feel happy about it at all, but I'm glad that I didn't quit. And I'm glad that I'm building myself into that new person. Of course, everyone would like it if your life was easy, but if you think about what qualifies you to become a better person, it's not going to be easy times. In order to become a better person, you have to have a hard life. A person who has a really good frame for this is Alex Hormozy. He talks about a conversation with God. If you wanted to be a patient person, what would that person have to go through in order to become a patient person? They would probably have to go through many long endeavors in order to reach their goals. They wouldn't get everything that they needed to quick. They would have to be comfortable with either doing something else in the meantime or waiting for what they want to come true. If you have big goals that aren't achievable in a yearly time span, it may be a decade, you have to become a patient person. You're gonna learn patience over the course of time by doing the reps every day, by working on your business every day, by becoming a better version of yourself every day. Over time, you're gonna do the actions that turn you into that person that you want to be, but it requires patience to do the actions other day. If you get impatient and you think, oh, fuck this isn't worth it, you're never gonna reach your potential of the person that you wanted to be. When you are building out the person that you want to become, thinking about the traits that they have in terms of patience, in terms of courage, you have to think, what would it take for someone to be patient? What would it take for someone to be courageous? And then that kind of allows you to go through those experiences of maybe you have a lot of big battles in your way, but you're gonna go into them anyway and do your best. Or maybe you have to wait a long time for this thing. You're gonna occupy yourself in the meantime to where you can be even more prepared. You've wished to become a stronger person, to have the life that you know you should, so you have to be willing to accept the price. The last point that I really have to talk about today is that I don't know if or when I'll be successful, but I do know that I won't stop. That was another frame that I was having when I was in my juggling. I don't care how long it takes me to get it done. I don't know when I'm going to be satisfied with my skills, but I know that I'm not gonna stop. I know that I might have a bad day, but I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna do as much as I can in that day. I'm gonna recover as fast as possible, or not allow myself to dip down and just continue going no matter how I feel. My non-given middle name growing up was Relentless. Whenever I got enough money to where I could go buy a new Skylander, or I could go buy a new toy from the store, I would ask my parents again and again and again to go to the store. Eventually, after the 20th or 100th time of asking, my parents just would call me Relentless, and then that kind of stuck to my middle name, my fake middle name being Relentless. That's how you have to be. You have to not be willing to quit. You have to continue asking. You have to continue working. You have to continue grinding. You have to continue becoming the version of yourself that you want to be. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. A little bit of updates on the YouTube side. I am trying out a new video format to where I'm gonna have my montages on shorts and then have these reflections just in the video, so that I don't kind of mix the audiences, because the montage audience isn't necessarily the same audience that's looking to learn. So I am separating that. And then also this is just kind of a different camera angle, because when I watch people about explaining to me how they're going about things, how they're thinking, they're not really as close to the camera as I am. They have a little bit more space in between themselves and the camera, so that they can kind of show you their body language. And I think it just looks a lot better than me being really up close to the camera and just looking at my face the entire time. So just a little bit of changes. I'm constantly trying to tweak, constantly trying to test different things to see how I can better do the YouTube. Recently, I've been trying to run some tests on the thumbnails to see what works better, but so far it looks like neither of them works out that great. So I'm gonna continue to try to tweak things until I find something that works for me and what I wanna do with this channel. But thank you for watching. Day 73 complete. Good night. Here's a scorecard for today. Want to point out the absolutely long juggling session, and then I did need a little break at the end of the day just to relax, as I'm still transitioning into that person that I want to be.